All right, Andre, this is where it gets steep and deep, my man. This is where we're going to be using the capability of these two fine Fords.
All right, put my truck into rock crawl mode. Just automatically locks my rear diff.
Hey, Andre, I see a little bit of water. Well, watch this. This is a Subaru Solterra EV on Kings Peak. How do you tell somebody in a polite way that they have gone above and beyond what their vehicle is capable of? This is where I might get some wheel rash. Oh, I hit my step. Hey Andre, what's better off-road? Is it an SUV or is it a truck?
I wager it's a pickup truck.
Well, I've got the brand new Bronco Everglades edition, and it costs about $58,000.
58?
Yeah.
Well, I have a brand new Ford Ranger Raptor, and it also costs about $58,000.
Well, mine's also a Ford, and get this, it's got not one but two lockers.
I have two lockers as well.
Wow, these things are very close. But I have, check this out, the Sasquatch package, which gives me 35s.
All right, I have 33s. But where are we going today?
We're going up Kingston Peak, and we're going to find out what's better, an SUV or a pickup truck.
Here at TFL Off-Road, we don't waste any time, and this is one great way to air down your tires for off-roading in a very quick way. JACO Rapid Off-Road Air Down Tool. Here's how it works. It actually comes in this pouch, and it removes and captures your valve core inside this device. So there's very little chance of you losing your core, but you could also air down very, very quickly. Latches on automatically. Then you use this plunger to capture the valve core. I'm gonna go to about 25 PSI because I don't want to lose a lot of ground clearance. There, it only took a few seconds.
We're at the beginning of the trail, and the cool thing is the Bronco allows you to pick GOAT modes. What you can do is you can change from normal to eco to sport to slippery to mud and ruts, which is probably what we'll be hitting, and then it does everything else for you. So in this case, I think it locks the rear locker and puts you in 4 high, which should work until we get into the rock crawly bits, and then I'm going to have to go into 4 low. But for now, it's nice to have it do all this without me having to do it. Andre, I gotta say, I love how fast that JACO deflates the tire.
Yeah, I love it. I was a little nervous about it removing the core, but it's totally captured inside the tool, and it's super easy.
Airing down has become so much easier, and now I've got a cushy ride. So where are we going?
I have no idea. I've never been here. But thank goodness we have Onyx Off-Road. And really, without it, I would be lost.
And right here, I'm following it on my Apple CarPlay. It's super easy, and it also told me how to get here on I-70, gave me directions to this location, and then I can track it all the way to this trail.
And we are going to Kingston Peak, to the top of Kingston Peak. And here's the thing about this trail. Apex Road is one of the last roads to open in the state of Colorado in the spring, and one of the first ones to close, because what happens is this thing gets just completely covered in giant snowdrifts. So this is a trail that we only can do like maybe 3 months out of the year.
Onyx rates this trail at 6 out of 10. So it's not the most difficult one, and it's also not the easiest.
We're really comparing two vehicles that cost the same but have, you know, very different audiences. I mean, I don't think anybody's cross-shopping a Ranger Raptor versus a Bronco Everglades.
All right, well, let's get to the hard part.
Well, you know, part of the fun of this trail, Andre, and I've done this before, is not that it's necessarily super hard, but it does take you super high, and you do get into kind of that alpine environment where you're on a shelf road and you're the highest thing all around, which is, you know, pretty stunning and at the same time a little scary.
All right, I'm gonna engage Baja mode. I'm gonna fly.
You can have that same engine in my truck. I just need to get the Raptor version of it.
Andre, do you see that peak way off in the distance?
Yeah, I see that very sharp and rocky peak.
Yeah, the one that's highest among all the other peaks. Well, we'll go to the top of that.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's where we're going, dude. We are going to the top.
I think Colorado is one of the few places where you can actually see a gigantic peak, and then you're gonna say, you know, I'm gonna drive my truck there.
As I like to say, every road in Colorado turns to a dirt road, which turns to a double track, which turns to a single track, which ends at a mine.
Or on the edge of a cliff, I guess.
Yeah, in this case, we're going to go to a beautiful outlook over a beautiful lake. So this is one of the more scenic drives, and it's one that people love to do on the weekend because it just takes you so high so quickly. Andre, I gotta tell you, if I were getting a Bronco, I would get this, the Everglades edition, because even though it's designed to go into the swamp, it's just as good here in the mountains. First and foremost, I have a snorkel,
Raised air intake.
raised air intake. Then I have a lift with 35s, and of course, from the factory, a Warn winch. What more could you want for $58,000?
How about bigger displacement? 3-liter V6 with over 400 horsepower. How about live Fox shocks, which this truck has? Actually, the Ford Ranger Raptor is the most capable Ranger from the factory, even though it has a slightly smaller 33-inch tall tire on it. But I do have skid plates, I do have the step that's kind of sort of a rock slider, and I have more towing and more payload capacity.
Well, I've got something that you can only dream of, Andre, and that is a convertible. I can take that top off and let this beautiful Colorado sunshine in, whereas you've got some weird thing on the back of your truck.
I have a home. I have a GFC camper, so I could sleep on the mountain.
Yeah, hold on, but that thing's like 11K, so it doesn't count.
Okay, but I do have a home. Good night, Roman.
Hey, Andre, I see a little bit of water. I think the Bronco can do a much bigger splash than that little incy-bincy Ranger Raptor.
Oh, yeah? Well, watch this. That was very good, Andre. I'm impressed. I mean, you got the trees wet and the videographer, but I think I'm going to win this with my bigger 35.
More tire, more splash. That's what I'm going with.
All right, do your worst.
All right, here I go, my man.
Oh, that was a good one.
Not bad. I saw some water on your roof. That's pretty good.
That was a good one. Let me wipe this off. Oh yeah, the videographer is wet. I'm gonna have to apologize to our intern.
Well, that's why we have interns, right?
Oh, sorry about that, Gavin. Did we get you a little wet?
I was in the splash zone a little bit.
A little bit, huh?
Wow, Roman, look at this. This is a Subaru Solterra EV on Kingston Peak.
Oh, how do you tell somebody in a polite way that they have gone above and beyond what their vehicle is capable of?
Well, I would expect to be stuck behind a Solterra downtown Denver. I did not expect to be stuck behind one on Kingston Peak.
Are you telling them? Are you helping them? They may be a little lost.
I lost my GPS, so I went to Peak Lake, but I think
Okay,
I'm not sure if this is the right way.
let me look. Hold on. While I look at my map, he has some more knowledge than me.
Oh.
And
Is
this-
this the right way, or should I have turned on that?
No,
last
this is the right way.
Okay,
But
okay.
I would just not go beyond that. Your car is not doesn't have enough ground
Don't
clearance.
go beyond here.
No, don't go beyond the lake.
The lake.
You could probably get to the lake.
So the lake is up. There's a pike down to the lake.
Yeah, so what happens is it'll be about this rough if you're comfortable with that up to the lake. Then you'll get to a little shelf road, so you'll be looking down, and then you'll get to a parking lot, and then you can see the lake, and then the lake is maybe a mile hike down.
Yeah. That was my plan.
Yeah.
So far, it's been okay. It's a good test for my Solterra.
Yeah, but above the lake, if you keep staying on the trail.
No, I'm not going to do that.
It gets really rough.
No. If this is it, this I can handle this. Well, sorry to interrupt your video.
No, that's all right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, I think she's okay.
So Roman, when should I switch to 4 low?
Let me check my watch.
It says we're at 11,000 feet above sea level, Andre, so I would do it now.
It says I need to move forward just a little bit to mesh my gears. Nice, I'm in.
While you're doing all that, I switched to 4 low. Hey, I got a question for you. What do you think makes for a better ride? A long wheelbase truck on 33s or a shorter wheelbase Bronco on 35s?
Well, it depends on the airspeed velocity of an unladen Swallow.
I love your Monty Python reference, my man. Very good. I think they're about the same. I mean, this is, feeling really comfy. I'm down to 25 on the tires. I've got a bit of a lift. I got the big old 35s, and I could do this all day long.
I would say extra sidewall you have.
An extra ground clearance you have is probably a little bit better for you because it's getting rockier.
And I have to be mindful of my ground clearance.
Yeah, I mean, these are the exact right vehicles to take up here. Now I'm kind of feeling bad about that woman. I'm not sure she's going to make it over this part, Andre.
Maybe we'll fly a drone and see where she's at in a few minutes and send out a search team.
Well, and there are a lot of buildings along this route, so I think there are people that live up here. But look at the view, isn't it spectacular? I mean, that to your right is basically Rollins Pass, which is the way you could go as a crow flies to Winter Park.
I wish I was a crow.
The other thing I would tell you, Andre, is I love being in cars that have more capability, or trucks, than the trail, right? Because these trails are kind of like when you ski. It goes all of a sudden from green to black, and you're like, how did that happen? And when you're in a vehicle that can handle black, you just feel much more secure.
Yeah, I would have been sweating bullets if I was on the Subaru Solterra right now.
Andre, I will tell you something cool. So that is James Peak Lake.
That's what the woman wanted to find, right?
That's what she wants to find.
Okay.
We're at 13,234 feet.
Already?
Above sea level, yeah.
Unbelievable.
That's Rollins Pass over there. But here's the crazy thing. It's about 1.5 miles hike to that lake.
Okay.
People come up here, they park, and then they go camping at the lake overnight.
That's
or
amazing.
Longer.
That's amazing, yeah.
Is that amazing?
Yeah.
I mean, I could barely breathe at 13,234 feet above sea level, but people come up here, go hiking.
But we're going further up, right?
Yeah, this is the top upper. That's James Peak, so we're kind of going to go around it, but this is where it gets kind of steep and deep.
Okay.
So definitely 4 low. You won't need a rear locker, but you are going to need, to go as slow as possible, as fast as necessary, because luckily we've got the vehicles to do it. But it is going to get difficult, then it'll flatten out, and then it'll get difficult again, and then we'll be at the top. All right, Andre, this is where it gets steep and deep, my man. This is where we're going to be using the capability of these two fine Fords.
Well, I put my truck into rock crawl mode. It's automatically locked my rear diff. My front diff is still open.
I don't know. I don't even know if I need to lock my rear diff, but it's kind of nice to have.
I'm kind of the same way. I'm in mud and rust. I guess I could do off-road, but my rear is locked. I'm in 4 low, and we're air down. That's pretty much perfect.
Dude, there's a sharp rock right here on my left, my driver's side. Holy cow. This is where I might get some wheel rash. Oh, I hit my step.
Oh, come on, that's what these things are built for. To be honest, I'd love to see the Solterra come up here. Now that would be badass. And that woman was badass, so I wouldn't put it past her.
So I think this is why, Onyx Off-Road, that's where the ratings come from. It doesn't come from a gravel road, but it comes from, the obstacle like this, where, I just touched my skid plate.
Yeah, now you can see where it gets a little tricky. Now we're doing proper rock crawling.
Now it's getting steep and deep.
Yeah, this is definitely where the 6 comes in on Onyx. You might be getting close to 14,000 by the time we get to the top of Kingston Peak.
And just to think, about an hour ago, we were at our office.
That's why I love Colorado. An hour ago we were at the office enjoying a nice cup of tea or coffee, whatever your preference is, and some bagels. And here we are in a very high alpine environment, rock crawling our way up to almost 14,000 feet above sea level, and enjoying the spectacular view. This is why I really love living here.
I think we also have to talk about tires, my friend, because that's where that's what's critical.
I have BF Goodrich KO3. KO3 is a new generation of the KO all-terrain tire. And it's supposed to be, it's similar traction, but it's supposed to be a little bit more tough.
Yeah, it's interesting that they chose KO3s for the Ranger Raptor, but they put Goodyears on the Sasquatch Bronco.
And I think it's kind of like 6 in one and a half dozen in the other. Both tires are very good, very tough.
I wouldn't be scared driving up here in a snowy condition either.
Yeah, I've got a good friend that I went up here with recently who does rescues, and believe me, they do a lot of rescues, Andre. Actually, there was a guy who rolled off the side of this trail, and it's hard to rescue somebody when they roll off the side of this trail because there's nothing to basically winch to. There are no trees or no rocks, and then you gotta kind of do a special maneuver to help, roll the vehicle back up. But the most important thing I think about tires is, you don't want to pinch a sidewall and you don't want to rip a sidewall, and that's where, the toughness of the tire comes in. I think the contact patch is good for all of them. It's just, how tough are they on their sides?
You gotta thread the needle here.
The best thing about this trail is it's pretty close to Denver.
So you don't have to go, deep into the Rockies. You can just leave home in the morning and stop at Bojo's for pizza on the way home.
This is not brought to you by Bojo's, by the way.
This is our last climb before we reach the summit, and it's also rather challenging, but I have to say, Andre, I'm not sure there's much between these two vehicles. They both have done wonderfully out here.
Let me ask you this. Have you touched the skid plates?
I have not. I have not touched any skid plates.
I touched 2.
Yeah, but that's what they're for. I'm not sure we can use that as a way of judging which one's better. Have you felt, a better criteria might be, have you felt confident in your vehicle that it could do everything? And how much has it, made your breakfast want to come up?
Absolutely, I've had confidence the entire way. I do have a lot of tech for the money. I have 360-degree cameras, I have front rear lockers, I have, super tough tires. So I was never kind of on the edge of my seat. I was always pretty confident, and I could go quick in certain sections too.
I think this Bronco is just eating this up. It does make a difference. Those 2 inches of tire, Andre, it gives you more confidence. You know, it doesn't make you worry as much about like these rocks that we're about to go over that you're gonna hit. Even though you do have skid plates, hitting rocks is still no fun in some ways. You know what I mean? It still is kind of disconcerting because you're wondering, well, did I hit a skid plate, or did I hit a dry shaft, or did I do something else? Oh, there you go. You almost threw a rock back at me.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Yeah, so I think we have to hand it to Ford. I mean, both of these vehicles are super capable. And let's face it, Andre, even though you've got a much bigger engine, for off-roading, it makes no difference.
Yeah, I was gonna make fun of your puny little four-cylinder, but I can't because you have the gearing
and everything else to, to make your vehicle capable.
But I think there is one important distinction between those two, and that is, of course, the one that's obvious, that one's a truck and one's a car. But I have very little payload, 800 pounds, whereas you've got a lot more payload. And at the end of the day, if you want to haul and tow something and then go off-road, you can do it in the Ranger Raptor, whereas with this, you're going to be limited.
And you know what? I have enough maneuverability. If I was in a heavy-duty truck, I might be sweating right now, but this mid-sizer, I can fit through this area.
I think the answer is, well, I'll tell you the answer when we get to the top.
I'm embracing the world.
Are you, Andre?
I'm embracing it.
So I made you a promise. We
What?
go to the top of that mountain.
Yes.
Well, we didn't quite go to the top of it. We kind of went around it.
Is this the top?
Well, we're at the top here.
Okay.
And we're at almost 12,000 feet. And we got the trucks, because they are both trucks.
Yes.
Good and dirty. And the question that we have to answer for our friends out there is, if you had 58K, would you go for truck or SUV?
That's a tough one, but I gotta stay with my truck.
Really?
I gotta stay with the Ranger.
You know, I'd say go with the Ranger too.
Really?
I love the Bronco.
Okay.
We had that Bronco, but I just can't get past the utility of it. You can go up here, you can tow, and you've got a little house there.
Little house.
It's just, a really good all-around Swiss Army knife. But if you really want to go off-road,
I have a solution.
buy that.
No.
Buy
Ford?
both.
Ford? Bronco pickup truck. Come on!
Oh, God.
They should make it.
No, buy them both. All right. See you next time. Ciao.
Bye.